Good evening, everybody. This is Mayuresh Joshi, the head of equity research for William O'Neill India. Very glad that all of you could make it for today's webinar. So today's webinar is basically divided into three parts. The first part is what is CANSLIM all about, the methodology behind CANSLIM. The second element within the presentation itself is going to be the buy and sell rules. A little bit of chart pattern recognitions is what I'll go through and get you guys all through. And the third obviously is going to be the question answer session. So any questions that you broadly got on the markets, on the sectors itself, I'll be more than happy and more than glad to answer this at the end. So I think two aspects. One, the markets have shown a huge rebound from lower levels. I think the intraday low that we saw a couple of weeks back of 7,500 and the levels that we are right now, close to 9,600. I think that's been a tremendous rebound into the markets. How do you probably play that? I think you need to have a solid stock selection. So in that sense itself, I think the methodology that we've got and what I'll take you through is extremely critical. So I'll straight jump to the presentation and I'll take you through what CANSLIM is through chart pattern recognition, and the third part, as I said, is the question answer session. So I think a clear disclaimer that we begin with, this should be taken in terms of understanding what CANSLIM is. The representation in terms of stocks is for educational purposes only, and it should not be construed to be a investment advice. So let's straight jump to part one. Now, how is the Nifty positioned as on date and at this point of time? So as I was clearly mentioning, post September 23rd of the last financial year, when the Exchequer announced the corporate tax cuts, there was a huge spurt in the markets. So if you go by the William O'Neill methodology and by the CANSLIM way of investing, we've got certain terminologies that you should all be aware about. So I'll be taking you through what we use in terms of the terminology in terms of understanding market concepts. So on that day, a follow-through day was witnessed in the market, which basically meant that the huge candle that you probably see here, I think this candle on September 23rd was a candle which had a move of more than 1.8 to 2% on the index level, with volumes which were much more than the previous day. Now, a follow-through day is something that our methodology strongly follows, because a follow-through day gives you the solid base that you need to understand in terms of the market direction. A follow-through day also takes the markets onto a strong footing or a confirmed uptrend, as we put it. And with that respect, the markets and specific sectors and specific stocks which are showing good growth momentum. And we've got a lot of ratings, if you would have seen on our product itself. Apart from the evaluation page, you've probably got the EPS rating, the RSI line, the RSI strength itself, the fundamental factors and where they are placed in terms of the technical factors, whether on the daily moving averages or the weekly averages. I think this forms a very, very important base and a tenet from which the market moves and functions. But what moves and functions between that is an extremely critical element in terms of stock selection as well, which the product itself does in terms of pattern recognitions and in terms of chart recognitions that the software itself throws out. So the markets had a dream run till the end of Jan, till the pandemic of coronavirus actually started hitting the world. And from there onwards, we have this concept called distribution days. So I'll take you through what a distribution day is as well. But as the number of distribution day keeps on increasing, I think you should be more and more cautious in terms of how the market positioning is at a particular point of time. I think you clearly saw that number of distribution days were stacking up as we entered the month of February, and they kept on increasing over a period of time. And we had rightfully changed our market status to downward, which basically means that you should be probably getting out of the stocks. You saw what happened at that point of time. And then again, I think you probably need to wait, as I said earlier as well, follow-through day, which happened on March 31st, the last day of the financial year. I think we've taken out the 21-day moving average, which was at 8,925. And we're very, very close in terms of taking out the 50 daily moving averages. So we witnessed one more follow-through day today. Apparently, the index has moved, as you would have all witnessed and seen, 1.8% in terms of the price action that it has witnessed today. And the volumes are larger than yesterday's trading session. So I think an additional follow-through day has been witnessed today, which is a good sign. So in terms of all the complexity that we are seeing from an economic and a financial deleveraging perspective, I think equity markets are on a trajectory and a trend of their own, and we should be following this trend and following strong bases and structures of sectors and stocks and taking rightful positioning in these sectors and stocks. So this is how the market positioning is at this point of time. Now, as I was mentioning, the concept in terms of a distribution day is nothing but if a major index. So in this concept, whether you take Nifty as an example, if the Nifty falls more than 0.2% on a particular day, with volumes higher than the previous trading session, that is what is counted as a distribution day. Now, the number of distribution days, as they start stacking up over a length of time, I think that becomes equally critical in terms of gauging the market direction. So I'll take you through the four basic tenets of market directions that we've got as per the William O'Neill methodology and as per the Canslin parameters as well, where the M part, which is the market direction, is an extremely critical element in terms of identifying the trend and the positioning that one should be having towards equity markets as a whole. The distribution days stays onto the market records till 25 days as 25 trading sessions expire, and if there are no additional distribution days which are added, again I think the new ones obviously get added, but the old ones probably just expire off after 25 trading sessions. Now this is the market direction that I was talking about. So the current market direction, obviously with strong traction that we've seen right from the bottom, is how you've started seeing the entire distribution days being contained. The second element is that we've seen very, very strong follow-through days. So the first follow-through day obviously has been witnessed in terms of how the entire move has been from March 31st, where the first distribution day was witnessed. We also had intermittent short correction of 5 to 6% from the first follow-through day that we look out for. We had a second follow-through day a few days later, and as I said, I think we had a solid direction in terms of one more follow-through day that we saw right now. So the markets are in a clear confirmed uptrend at this point of time. Now, when does an uptrend under pressure start happening? So for example, I think when the markets are in fine petal like we are at this point of time, and as I explained the concept of a distribution day, so when a distribution day occurs, and if this stacks up for 4 to 6 distribution days over a period of 4 to 5 weeks. So in a trading period, ideally in a month's time, if you witness 4 to 6 distribution days, and if the distribution days are contained below 6, you're obviously going to see that the markets are slowly and steadily, very, very slowly, but steadily coming under some sort of a pressure. And that is where I think you should be a little bit more cautious. So if the markets are in a confirmed uptrend as we are at this point of time, but for example, over the next few weeks, over the next 4 to 6 weeks, if we witness 4 to 6 distribution days occurring, you are expected to see the markets stay in a range and some sectors actually come under pressure. So at this point of time, I think the suggestions that we do, because I think the markets is clearly throwing out something to us, and those concepts that the market is throwing out is that you should be a little bit more cautious, or you should at least start taking some money off the table, specifically in terms of high beta correlated stocks or stocks which have a high correlation in terms of their price movement compared to the movement of the index, in this case the Nifty itself. So clearly, I think if there are 4 to 6 distribution days witnessed between 4 to 5 weeks, we are expected to see markets throwing data in terms of some pain that the markets might exhibit going forward. Now, when do we take the markets in terms of our market direction to a downtrend, which we saw in the month of February, by the end of February, when we had downgraded the markets to a downtrend. So a downtrend markets or a downtrending markets starts happening when that distribution day counts exceeds 6 within a period of 6 weeks. So if the distribution day stack up is 6, 7 or 8 within a period of 6 weeks, or between that 4 to 6 weeks, the additional 2 weeks, you see additional distribution days stack up beyond 6, you're bound to see that the market has started coming under tremendous sort of pressure. And that pressure can be seen both in terms of price and volume action, which clearly gets played on different sectors, on different prices. And that is the time when you should be extra careful in the market. You should be probably trimming your positions quite significantly, saving cash or conserving or putting in a lot of cash on hand, and probably getting out of very, very sensitive stocks at that point of time. Now, once the market is in downtrend, we probably wait. We have to wait for a proper follow through day to happen. Now, what is a follow through day? So I'll quickly take you through what a follow through day is. A follow through day is nothing but, as I said, uh, when an index moves 1.8% or more with volumes higher than the previous day. So like the distribution day, where the index corrects by 0.2% with volumes higher than the previous day, we wait when the markets is in a downtrend motion. So I think after the correction that we saw in the past few weeks, we actually waited till the markets gave us that base and a follow through day happened. Now, when does a follow through day come? So once the market is in downtrend, you need 3 solid days of positive momentum or positive action into the market. Example, I think once the market hit that intraday low correction of 7,500 and it rebounded from there quite significantly and it came back as a pullback, we actually waited for some positive momentum happening in the markets on 3 consecutive days. So those 3 consecutive days did appear in the last week of March, where the market had solid traction on 2 of the days. On one of the occasions, the market did not have a positive traction, but at least on those 3 days, the market did not undercut its low that it had created, which was 7,500. And if that happens, I think those 3 solid positive days that occur in the market, after that market has hit that all-time low, or once it has tried to find some sort of a bottom, I think those 3 days become extremely critical. Now, after those 3 days are exhibited, where the markets in those 3 days either show positive traction, the volume action is strong, the price action is strong, and where the markets have not undercut its previous low, we wait for a follow through day. Now, a follow through day can occur from any day after those 3 days between day 4 and day 25. So you basically need to wait for 20 trading sessions after those 3 positive days have been exhibited by the markets. Once that has occurred, a follow through day is something that we'll wait for from day 4 till day 25, which is roughly 20 to 21 trading sessions, where again, I think the index on that particular day will move more than 1.8% compared to having volumes which are larger than the previous day. So once that day is exhibited in the markets, which was exhibited on March 31st in the current correction, we did manage to see a solid follow through day for the markets, which gave us the confidence, and we changed the market status, because the market status then was a rally attempt because we saw 3 solid days of positive action. Once we saw that positive follow through day come through, we witnessed strong traction, price volume action coming back with strong force into the market, and we changed the market status back to a confirmed uptrend. But once the status change has happened, with all the mayhem that you see, we probably become very, very cautious at this point of time. So in this stage, I think we are not going to buy left, right, and center any stock that comes into our radar. As I said, our product, and you would have seen the product itself, exhibits a lot of base patterns, they exhibit chart patterns, and they exhibit pivot levels, which are the exact pinpoints where we feel that certain sectors can perform exceedingly well. Within those certain sectors, certain stocks can perform exceedingly well. And again, I think if you start taking positions selectively in such a trend in the market, I think you will be able to ensure that you are getting into the right sectors which are trending, which are showing strong price volume action, where the fundamentals are strong. Because what Cancelim methodology also believes, which I'll take you through, is also strong fundamentals backed with solid technical action which takes place. So I think this is how the market direction is extremely critical, extremely important to be observed. In that respect, 2 aspects again, I think just for reiteration, distribution days is something that you should take into account. 0.2% or more, with volumes larger than the previous day. If that stack up is around 4 to 6 in the period of 4 to 6 weeks, the markets will come under pressure because the data in the markets is showing slowly but steadily that the markets are coming off, and at that point of time you should be partially booking. If more distribution day stack up happens into the market over the next couple of weeks and the stack up exceeds beyond 6, 7 or 8, at that point of time you should be extra cautious into the markets and you should probably be trimming your positions quite significantly. I'll take you through what CANSLIM is. Obviously, this method has been devised by William O'Neill. William O'Neill is a legendary investor. He's the founder of the William O'Neill Group as well. He's the IBD founder as well. We're the second biggest publication in the US markets at this point of time, following the Wall Street Journal. And I think he devised this strategy which combines fundamentals and technicals, where I think the chances of identifying winning stock, the chances of identifying better stories in markets where direction and where in markets where stock selection becomes extremely critical without a manual bias. I think the technical, the fundamental aspects are all thrown out by the system itself. I think it's just how do we identify the pattern itself, which I'll also take you through the basic recognition in terms of the basic chart patterns that you need to identify, which is already recognized by the software itself. Now, every alphabet for CANSLIM has a particular attribute attached to it, and therefore I think the word CANSLIM is encompassing a lot of attributes that encompass the entire market itself. So for example, C stands for current earnings, nothing but how the earnings of a particular company is for a particular quarter, and the comparison is done on a quarter-on-quarter basis, on a sequential basis, on a sequential basis as well. The A part stands for the annualized earnings and how the annualized earnings have stacked up for a particular company on a year-on-year basis. The N factor is nothing but the newness that the company has to offer within the sector itself. So what is the company doing from an innovative perspective? Are they introducing new products? Are they introducing new services? Are they introducing something new which is very, very unique for the company and the sector itself, which can stand out from an earnings perspective for the next few quarters to come, which can stand out in terms of gaining market share, which can stand out in terms of gaining and achieving far more in terms of top line as well as bottom line growth. So the N factor becomes a very, very critical and an important factor. S is nothing but the demand supply dynamics in terms of how the float for the stock is at the market, how many buyers are stacking up, how many sellers are stacking up, whether there is enough liquidity for the stock at trade. L is a very, very important element that we concentrate upon in our CANSLIM methodology, and we basically believe in sticking and concentrating more on leaders rather than laggards. So leaders versus laggards is nothing but where in a particular industry and a group rank within their peer stacking itself, how the company is stacked up compared to its competitors, and therefore the leadership position that the company has in its products, in its services, compared to its other players within the same sector or the group itself. Leaders always stand to outperform and outshine the markets because they have a better positioning on all aspects that a business model probably requires. I is nothing but the institutional ownership, but the number of institutions are there in the stock, and it becomes extremely critical and important in terms of institutions, whether it's mutual funds, FIIs, insurance companies, FPIs, who are invested into the stocks, and these institution owners are somebody who have done the right amount of research, and therefore I think their positioning in the stock, when they're entering the stock, sticking with the story or exiting the stock, becomes extremely critical. The M element we have discussed in detail in terms of how the market direction is, how the market positioning is, distribution days, follow through days, and the entire market circle is what we've seen, which becomes extremely critical in terms of following the trend that the market data is showing you. If the market is coming under pressure, you should be trimming. If the distribution day count is increasing, the market is going to go under downtrend, which is under immense pressure, which means that you should be probably getting out of all your profitable ideations and sticking with all the profits that you made and conserving cash, because that will be required when the market starts coming out of the downtrend in new ideations and new trends and new stocks and sectors that the market will grow. So again, as I explained, the current quarterly earnings, which is the first part of C, the ideal ratio here is the current quarterly earnings has to be 25% or more when you do a comparative check on a sequential basis. Now again, I think why trend and market direction is important is because you probably need to understand how the market trend is, and trend is your friend. So I think you should probably be very, very cognizant of the fact on how the market direction is moving at a particular point of time. So current earnings becomes extremely critical. Now annualized earnings, as I said, the earnings like for the C element, the A element and the annualized earnings element, it should be more than 25%, or the growth should be 25% or more, and that should be on a comparative basis, on an annualized basis for the last 3 years. Along with this, I think what we also typically tend to see is how the return on equity, how the ROEs are shaping up, and ROEs should be identical or more than 17 odd percent, which is a very, very ideal situation in terms of earnings stack up getting reflected in the return on equity being more than 17%. Now, just a prime example, I think I've taken this example before the market crash, because I think most of the stocks have got weird patterns after the market crash and what we've probably seen in terms of the mayhem and the rebound that we've seen. But Bajaj Finance, typically, I think if you probably see how this earnings stack up has happened, that earnings stack up, and this is how it is being exhibited on our product itself. The earnings stack up, if you see on the right hand table, is where the growth has been very, very strong. Yes, the next 2 quarters, because of the softness seen for the industry itself, for the sectors itself, and for the market as a whole itself, might be a little bit muted, but the annualized earnings have been extremely strong. The quarterly earnings have been extremely strong. The institution holding, as you see, the number of funds out here on the left has increased on a comparative basis as well, and the return on equity is equally strong as well. So I think these are the criteria that you probably should be judging, and this criteria, as I said, on this evaluation page itself, the evaluation tool on the left hand side, the earnings tool on the details page, the checklist, which is one of the tabs available on the chart tooling page itself, and what probably the chart patterns throughout, which the software itself throws out from a recognition perspective, which I'll quickly take you through as well, becomes equally critical as well. So the newness, as I said, is something that needs to be observed. So anything new which the company is able to offer and which can take over competition, which can improve its top line, which can improve its earnings, is extremely critical. From a company perspective, it can help it stand out from a performance perspective on the top line, the operating performance, and the bottom line from an earnings perspective, and a return on equity or the return to shareholders perspective as well, because all the parameters are working on this behalf. An example was Bata. Bata, surprisingly, and with their campaign that they ran, had come out with a lot of innovative products. The innovation still continues, and in that respect itself, the kind of multiplication that the stock probably gave has been quite huge. So I think the shoe collection that they introduced, the women's collection that they introduced, both from an apparel perspective, the accessorized perspective, and a footwear perspective, I think that all stood out. They had innovations in terms of new stores and their feel-in stores, where I think you could experience a lot more rather than visiting a local shoe store. I think it was very, very unique, and that attracted customers across price points, because they also had products across price points, which started from the affordable range right till the premium range, including Hush Puppies, which probably is still an iconic brand at one level. So I think the end factor is equally important and critical as well. Supply demand, I think the bottom part on the charting tool or the evaluation page that you see, I think the volumes become extremely critical. So the red line that you see on this volumes bars is the average volume line. So when the accumulation of a stock is happening, so whether it's institutions who are buying, influential investors who are getting into the stock, there is strong pattern momentum that is exhibited in terms of the bars that you see in terms of the price movement, but look at the volume movement as well. So I think that becomes extremely critical in judging how people are getting in and out of the stock. So I think if the markets are in a good trend, if these stocks are exhibiting good momentum as well, based on the criteria that the volume stack up is getting reflected in very strong price action, there is strong accumulation that is happening. At the same time, I think as the stocks move sideways, and if those red bars are lower than the blue bars on the volume part, I think the correction which is happening on the stock is very, very muted because there is some distribution happening in terms of how the entire stack up is happening on that front. So the supply demand dynamics become extremely critical. Equally important is that when a sell-off starts happening or the distribution count starts increasing substantially over a period of time, the same volumes, the red bars might be far larger. And if those price actions are getting indicated with price action coming off very, very strongly and taking off the averages with strong volumes in terms of price action, those are the onerous signs that I said, which get exhibited from the distribution data, from the market direction which changes, which get exhibited on certain stocks, which exhibit this direction. And at that point, I think it's better coming off because I think we'll be better off because the stocks can show massive, massive correction going forward as well. So I think a few quotes that William O'Neill had. So I think this is something just for an observation on the larger scale. Now the leader and the laggard concept, as I said, I think the leaders is something that we ideally like and initially like to stick around with. And that is our entire concept because they would lead the earnings trajectory for their group. They would be leading indicators on how the sector is doing. And the leaders always perform compared to how the laggards are. And they'll always take you a notch higher in terms of leading the markets higher itself. And therefore, sticking with leaders than laggards is equally critical and equally important as well. Example again, I think in the case of Bata, I think you probably look at the footwear industry at this point of time. A lot of comparisons are done between Bata and the other players as well. But again, I think Bata has held on to its own. So the earnings and the growth trajectory, have a look at the left-hand bottom table that you're seeing. They've been growing at a phenomenal pace. So there is no two ways in terms of how these leaders actually perform in markets. Again, I think the other players also do well. It's not like Bata is the only stock within the footwear that performs. So for example, Relaxo had an equally good run as well. And the dynamics there are equally good. So I think at what point of time do you get in and what point of time do you get out is equally critical. But staying with leaders within these spaces itself, the number one, the number two player, is far more important rather than trying to bargain hunt some laggard which can or cannot do well. So an example here again within the same space itself is Mirza International. So it's more commonly known in terms of the red tape shoes, which is quite prominent that Mirza makes. But look at the numbers. I think the fundamentals were not supportive at all. The sales were growing at a very, very tepid pace over the last few quarters and years. It was not getting reflected on the operating front and not on the bottom line as well. So clearly, I think it was getting reflected in how the stock performance was. Look at the buyer interest. The buyer interest was simply not there. Institution holding was very, very poor. And that is what makes a great differentiation in terms of the canceling model. Because all these elements need to be put forth when you're trying to analyze a stock. तो जैसे हम खाना में तड़का लगाते हैं तो जैसे अलग अलग चीज़ें डालते हैं तड़का लगाने के लिए आई थिंक सारी चीज़ों का मिलन होना बहुत ज़रूरी है and therefore I think having all these elements put together when you're identifying a stock is extremely critical. So I think this was a clear argument which gets played out between the leader and the laggard. In institutional sponsorship, as I said, is equally critical because institutions have done thorough research. When they're getting in and out of a stock, I think that becomes equally critical because once they get in and step in, I think the accumulation phase that you see in stocks becomes quite significant and that plays out very, very positively on price volume data. At the same time, I think as market conditions starts are or whether the stock itself is expected to exhibit weak earnings, whether the earnings have been weak, whether the management commentary is pointing out to tougher times ahead. And if there are exits by institution in that particular sector or in that particular stock or a particular sector where there is a huge sell-off seen, I think you should probably be keeping a trend of that. So I think the institution part, which also is part of the valuation page, is equally critical to be observed and monitored and becomes an extremely important element and critical element of the canceling model. So HDFC Bank is a clear example in terms of how the stock has performed over a period of time. Again, how the stock has behaved has been quite stupendous. So look at the fund holdings. You can probably look over the last few quarters, the fund holdings have improved significantly. Look at the accumulation that is happening in the stock. I think the price volume action and how it is probably generating from an earnings perspective has been extremely critical for from a stock perspective as well. I've already explained in detail what market direction is all about. So I think important to note this. So I think just pause for a couple of seconds for you to gauge through this as well. Now, as I said, I'll take you through the chart patterns in part 3 of our presentation. Now, typically, I think, as I said, we combine fundamentals and technicals together. So the fundamentals are taken care of in quite a detailed aspect. I actually took them through with you on what the different elements need to be observed. So these are the typical chart patterns that we've seen. The first three, the cup with handle, double bottom, and the flat base, are the most common chart patterns. The advanced patterns are the saucer with handle, the consolidating base, and the IPO base. So I think a lot of queries come through in terms of how do I play with an IPO? I did not get a subscription to the IPO. So there are particular patterns that William O'Neill and the methodology that we've come out with that push through in terms of how do you identify a proper IPO base and how do you enter a stock on the proper IPO base as well. So cup with handle pattern is nothing where I think a price trend has already happened on the left hand side of the cup with handle. But after that, I think the stock corrects. So what you probably saw in terms of sharp and deep corrections like this, the correction can be anywhere between 50 to 20%, 15 to 35% as well. But the shape has to be a smooth U-shaped pattern. So it cannot be a very awkward shape which comes down, suddenly starts moving up and comes down again. So it actually has to be in the shape of a cup, on a cup where you sip your tea out of. Secondly, I think the length on where this U actually starts happening, right? That entire length of U should be at least 7 weeks. So that cup with handle base is somewhere where the price trend has happened for the 30%, at least 30% on the left hand side. The correction, where brutal corrections happen, it can be to the extent of 35%, and then the length for that entire U shape is close to 7 odd weeks. Now, as it starts moving higher and starts coming on the right hand corner, the right hand shoulder as we call it does not cut through the left hand high that it had made, but it comes to the left hand high and again for the next couple of weeks correct. So ideally, I think once it hits that right hand high, which is comparative to the left hand high, it actually has a correction of 10 to 15%. So that is where we say that the handle starts forming. The one that's handle starts forming and that correction happens of 10 to 14% on the right hand high that it has created over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think that ideal time period, if it doesn't undercut the 10 to 15% mark while forming the handle, and if that up move happens with strong volumes and it takes the left hand side high quite substantially, I think you've got a winner on your hands. So I think this is the typical cup with handle pattern that you should be cognizant about. These patterns, as I'm again repeating, are all there exhibited by the software itself on chart patterns in the stocks itself. So as subscribers, I think you will get all these chart patterns which are exhibited on the software itself, on particular stocks itself. The identification of these patterns becomes important, and therefore I think what happens in terms of understanding this pattern, whether it has happened in exactly the length, the duration, and the price corrections, I think if that is happening, and if you've identified that, which software has told you, and if you've seen that correctly in terms of correlation, I think you got a winner on your hand, because generally these patterns give away throughout signals for stocks to do exceedingly well. There's a double bottom formation as well. So again, if you probably look, there has been a strong movement on the left hand side. The first correction that happens, again, typically like the cup with handle pattern, I think the first depth for the correction is anywhere between 15 to 35 odd percent. It then has a low point from where it starts moving a tad higher. So the middle peak is where we call is the middle peak for the entire pattern. Now it is in the alphabet of W. Therefore, I think when the middle peak of the W is hit, which is around the midpoint of the base from the left hand side that it is corrected, it again starts moving downward and it actually undercuts the first low that it has made, or the low point of the first leg. So the low point of the second leg in the W pattern is where the undercutting has happened of the first leg itself. And from there again, I think as it starts moving higher, the buy point happens as it takes out the middle peak. So the middle point becomes extremely critical in a double base pattern, because the moment it takes out the middle peak with heavy volumes, you've got a winner on your hands, and there strong breakouts can be exhibited on stock showing that. Right inside, I think an example was Avanti Feeds, where the pattern was exhibited in the rightful manner, and as it took out on the right hand side, the middle peak with heavy volumes as you're seeing on the bottom part, look at the breakout that the stock gave over the next few weeks. A flat base, I think this is a typical pattern which happens where the stock actually over a period of 5 weeks, for at least 5 weeks, goes through a range bound pattern. So I think the stock movement that has happened on the higher side of the depth, which should be less than 15% in this case. So it normally moves between 15%, minus 15 to 0%, moves higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower for at least 5 weeks. But at that point of time, over the next 5 weeks, as it starts exhibiting and the next move on the upside, if it starts taking out with volumes and takes out the left hand side high with heavy volumes, I think what a flat base pattern where the strong breakout signal gets exhibited, and such patterns are also very, very strong price momentum indicators for stocks which probably exhibit them. So example again, it's been AU Finance Bank, because the flat base was less than 15%, it moved in a narrow range, up, down, volume action was absolutely fine, and with that respect, on the right hand side, as it took out, I think the breakout was exhibited, and from there onwards, I think the stock moved in a different trajectory over the next few weeks. And ascending base, I think this is a more complex pattern to observe. So on the left hand side, it has already moved 20% from the previous base. Now the decline that happens on the left hand side, all the pullbacks as we call it, the pullbacks are anywhere between 10 to 20% from the left hand shoulder that it creates. Now these patterns are exhibited for normally 9 to 16 weeks, which basically means that for the pattern to play out, it's almost a 3 to 4 week kind of a scenario. But there is an initial pullback which is seen, and there is an up move again. So what this pattern basically does is it forms higher tops and higher bottoms, as we call it. So the higher top, higher bottom pattern is where I think the higher lows are getting exhibited for every pullback. But the logic remains the same. So I think once the stocks, particular stocks move higher, they pull back anywhere from 10 to 20%, but the low of the second pullback is far higher than the first pullback. The high of the first stop is far higher than the top of the first stop. Once the third pullback has happened, and as the third pullback takes place, I think the peak of the third pullback on the left shoulder of the third high, I think once that is taken out, I think the charts or the stocks which exhibit such patterns can have a tremendous run after that. So I think the initial pullbacks that you see are more of hiccups. So it's more of hiccups which happen in terms of their move up in the market. But as they take place, I think the next breakout which happens on the third pullback, that breakout is quite substantial. So such patterns also need to be observed. These patterns are very well put on record. Therefore, I think the observation of such patterns happening on either of the stocks in the software becomes extremely critical, and therefore to judge these patterns and to understand the cognizance and importance of these patterns is equally important. Now, a saucer with handle, like a cup with handle, I think it's a typical pattern, but I think the length, if you would have observed, is far, far longer. So the length has to be at least 18 weeks. So for this example in Sanofi India, I think this length was almost 38 odd weeks. The depth has to be less than 25%. So I think from the prior uptrend that the stock has exhibited, it cannot correct more than 25%. Therefore, I think it forms the shape of a saucer rather than a cup. So at least 18 weeks. And then again, I think the handle, which has not to be more than 10 or 12 odd percent from the right hand high, not taking the left hand high. Once that correction happens over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and as the volume happens typically like a cup with handle, I think you've got a winner on your hands in this case. A consolidation pattern, we've already seen that. So I think like you've seen in the earlier pattern, the depth should not be more than 15%. It basically moves in a range. The volume action is fine, but it should not be more than 15% in terms of price correction, because then it puts the entire argument out of play. And therefore, I think as the breakout gets exhibited after the fourth or fifth point, after those 20 weeks have been probably exhibited, or 18 weeks, you probably got a bidder on your hands. Case in point being InfoEdge in this case. Now the IPO base that I was talking about, here typically again, I think once the listing has happened on a particular IPO day, the decline from the peak to low. So for example, if the stock has got listed the peak to low decline should not be more than 20%. But a more volatile market, I mean, if markets are really bad, I think it can also decline to more than 50%, up to 50%. Now, a length of the base is equally critical for an IPO base. It's less than 5 weeks and can be as short as 7 days. The third element to be observed is that when the stock lists on its IPO listing day, the closing has to be on the upper half of the day's range. So basically, when you're looking at any candle, it has to close in the upper half of the range. So if it closes on the lower half of that candle, even if it's a positive close, it means that the price strength is probably not there, or the legs are not there, either from the institution activity or the general buyer activity from a buyer supply demand perspective to carry the stock higher. The most critical point is during the base formation, I think the stock price should not undercut its IPO price. So if it undercuts its IPO price, the entire argument goes for a toss. The pattern typically starts within 25 days, and the standard entry point, or the pivot as we call it, right, is the highest point on the left hand side of the base pattern has started to form. So in this case, if you clearly observe, I think it has taken a few weeks, the volumes have been low, it has not undercut its IPO price, and the pivot has been where the left hand side of the IPO price, which is the left hand bar, the first bar on the listing date, has been taken out with substantial volumes compared to the previous day. And that is where I think the ideal breakout has happened. And for such cases, specifically new IPOs which get listed, this base pattern becomes extremely important in terms of timing, when to get into the IPO price and when to get into the IPO stock. Now, when to book losses, I think we've got an 8% rule. The 8% rule is nothing but if you're taking position. So when you're looking at the evaluation page, the pivot levels are very well identified between 0 to 5%, because there the chart patterns have exhibited exactly the entry point that you need to take. So the fundamentals are in place for the stock. The technical patterns have indicated that the base has been created very, very nicely. Therefore, getting into that pivot range of 0 to 5% would mean that you ideally enter the stock at an appropriate price range. If it extends beyond 5%, 10, 15% move, I think it's an extended move, and therefore you should be avoiding that and waiting for the stock to pull back on lower volumes, getting back into the pivot range, and then probably taking an entry. But again, I think any stock which you probably take an entry into from 0 to 5, it is also susceptible to market conditions. So if there is some element of market selling that comes through, you always need to protect capital, because at William O'Neill, we always believe that capital preservation, capital conservation is a must, and therefore the 8% rule to save or conserve your capital. Because if that stock is falling 8% after forming a solid base and where the pivot has actually exhibited 0 to 5% as a buying range, I think that 8% fall in the market means there is something wrong in the market, or something wrong, both from a technical indicating perspective, and you should be probably then be locking either your profits which you have entered, if volumes are taken out on the higher side, or if your pivot range has been breached on the lower side has to be not more than 8%, which means that you will be restricting your losses to 8% and not more, which the stock markets or the stocks can exhibit. So you have to sell your losing stock first. I think what you probably need to do is too many winners, people sell their winners while holding the laggard. So identification, as I said, as per the methodology, is extremely critical. So I think you have to weed your portfolio. I think which stocks to sell first. If the moving averages are taken with substantial volumes, even if you are making reasonable money, I think you should be partially booking profits. If there is further pain in terms of more volume action coming through and longer term averages taken off, I think you should be taking your positions off totally and then probably re-enter, because I think the stocks will give you occasions and chances of re-entering again. So it's always 7%, because I can keep on waiting, right? So if the stock corrects 20, 25%, for the stock to retrace again, I think it will have to make a 50% move. So if the stock corrects 50%, it will have to make a 100% move from that level to come back just to your buying price. So I think there is a cardinal rule of selling at William O'Neill and canceling. We believe that if the stock drops 7 to 8% below your purchase price, sell, no questions asked. There are something which are issues with the stock from a technical perspective, which can show, which can get exhibited in the days or weeks to come. But we don't want to wait for that in terms of further selling pressure on our stocks. So I think it's safer to conserve your capital, and therefore the cardinal rule of 8% is extremely critical. So this is what I've explained. Lock-in profits, 3 signs of trouble. If key moving averages are taken off, I think that is where I think the initial sign is. If the trend is changing, if the RSI comes off quite significantly, If the market direction has started changing, number of distribution days have increased, that is one important sign as well. Or there is a heavy volume sell-off on a day or a particular days to follow. I think there is something wrong with the stock because there is some stack up happening in terms of volume action exhibited by price not being on your side, and therefore I think locking in profits becomes extremely critical. So key example here on what happened with RBL Bank. If you look at where the breach happened, I think the fundamentals had already started deteriorating. So the quarterly earnings in terms of reported asset quality pressures, etc., were getting played out. It had breached the 50 DMA before the 200 DMA was breached. So that initial sign had taken place with heavy volumes. So that was the first sign that was exhibited through the methodology itself, and if you were having a keen eye in terms of observations as well. The second, I think the nail in the coffin happened when the 200 DMA was taken off with even higher volumes. So I think that is a sign where you obviously need to get off. It's no point wondering whether you should stick around or not. I think you get out, whether the stock sustains over the next few weeks and whether you get an entry point again. I think that is what the software will throw up. But at this point of time, it was clearly indicating that you should be getting out of the stock, because I think volumes were clearly indicating a price volume action and the breach of key averages with heavy volumes and price action as well, where the candle actually closed on the bottom half of that day's candle, particularly in the week's candle as well, was indicating that there is something wrong with the stock, and you saw what has happened and where the stock is languishing even at this point of time. Similar case in terms of Titan as an example. If you would have seen before the Q3 numbers, I think the volume activity, the accumulation, as I said, has to happen with heavy volumes, either more than averages, and that is a critical sign. If you probably see the accumulation of that stock before the results were getting announced, was happening in very, very tepid volumes. It was not even close to the average volumes, which meant that there was something amiss with the stock. The day the result came, it was disappointing. Look at the volumes at that point of time, far larger than averages, and it started breaching the key averages, and the stock came down significantly with a lot of volume on the downside in the days and weeks to come. So I think these are certain elements and signs that you should be cognizant and watchful for as well. Now, Aarti, typical darling at this point of time over the last few weeks, but for a particular point, it had come off its high, it closed in the red. And again, I think look at that action which came place. So I think those were some initial signs that got exhibited. We obviously had a strong momentum in the stock. It's part of our portfolio. But I think as the selling intensified, we took those initial signs that came through and we took money off the table. Because I think the signs that the stock was exhibiting in terms of volume and price action, breach of key averages, as well as what happened in terms of volume stack up, which was far greater than averages, were not in favor in terms of having favorable position. Again, I think you should book your profits at 20-25%. I think that's a cardinal rule that comes through. And with that respect, you should probably be looking at taking away profits at 20-25%, because there will be opportunities that come through at every periodicity of time. Once a stock normally moves 20-25%, I think there is a lot of sideways consolidation that happens, but we don't want to lose the other winners during that time and price consolidation that the stock is going through. So ideally 20-25%, take some money off, take money off the table. In that time consolidation period with these stocks exhibit normally, there will be other stocks at play which will give you that momentum, and you can always come back because new base structures can keep on forming for the same stock after the consolidation is over. And over the next few weeks, you might again get an entry point into the stock as well. So periodically taking in 20-25%, getting and churning into new stocks and sectors which come through. I think that is the ideal way of making huge money and huge returns from leaders and winners in your portfolio as well. Now there's a concept of blue dot that we've recently introduced. The blue dot concept is extremely critical. Now this has started getting exhibited. Now the blue dot is nothing but an indication in terms of trending stocks which have exhibited strong patterns. That's one. And where the RSIs have hit their all-time high. So the RSI line has actually hit their all-time high, and that is giving enough potential sign to be monitored. So I think all these blue dots will be there on the software itself for a day. They get stacked up in our table as well, both on a daily and a weekly count. As this stack up starts increasing for a particular stock in motion, you can probably assume that it is giving you a leading indicator that you should be having on your buy watch list on all these stocks which have larger counts on a daily or a weekly basis or a monthly basis as well. So as these stocks start exhibiting these blue dots over a period of time, as that count increases, you probably will be seeing far greater traction happening in this stock. And this buy watch list will give you a confirmed uptrend to probably study these stocks in greater detail till it hits the pivot level. And as that pivot level gets hit, I think a tremendous price action volume can take these stocks into new trajectory. And therefore, I think this sums to some case in point, Aarti Industries, blue dot has got exhibited. Not every blue dot will mean that it is a buy signal. As the blue dot starts stacking up, it will ultimately take you to a pivot. In Aarti's case, the blue dot and Aarti's price movement into the pivot zone, the blue zone that you're talking about, which is the ideal buying range, happened. And look at the price move. I think the stock has not looked back. I think it is part of our current portfolio as a disclaimer, and we are still holding it. It's quite substantially higher in the last few days itself. So with this, thank you very much. I think the products are already there for your display, both MarketSmith, Swing Trader, and the others as well. I hope you are having a good look at the products. If you're not, I think please do after this presentation is over. I will try and take some questions because I've got to probably get into another show at this point of time. Any questions that I cannot answer, I think we will get back to you at this point of time. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Be safe. Take care.